I'm sure you've seen this. One of the things we did at that conference, and it's actually a litmus test for me, I asked in advance this past year if it would be part of the itinerary, was the speed networking. It's kind of like speed dating, if you will, but it's basically professionals gathered in a room where you have a couple of minutes, which with each other attendee, where you trade business cards, you talk about your various markets, what it's like there, what you specialize in, and then boom, you're on to the next person. And it's so much fun because you can meet literally 50, 75 people in the course of an hour or so doing this speed networking. That was one of the most fun events I attended at that conference. I loved it.
Yep. And if you're paying attention in those short spurts of time, you have the opportunity to make a note on a business card, right? So let's talk about some best practices of how to really maximize attending these things. So make a note right on the back of a business card. So this is also a tip in terms of how you design your business card. Make sure that it's not glossy on both sides so that people can't write on it, right? And make sure there's enough white space so that somebody can write a note to say, "Hey, feed network. This was the thing that we talked about." And then make sure that you follow up with those folks after.
That's the hard part. Yeah.
It
What is
sure is.
Yeah, it's very it takes a lot of, stick-to-itiveness, for lack of a better term, to do that type of follow-up, but it's critical. And some agents I've met in the past are so good. We'll get all sorts of follow-up pieces in the mail. 2 things that we've done in the past that I've done and seen. One thing we've always done for luxury portfolio and also for a few other conferences that I attended, we developed a specific marketing piece for that conference. So for luxury portfolio, my business partner and I did a small, odd-sized piece, so it wouldn't get tossed into the 8 by 10 envelope, category or whatever, or letter size envelope. And we did an odd-sized piece, and each part of the piece showcased a luxury home that we had sold in the recent past. So really nice looking photos, really high-end piece, nice paper, and it was developed and branded for that conference. So yeah, it's a little expensive to do something specific for a conference, but it's a memorable piece. I saw other agents doing something similar strategy-wise. Wasn't a hard copy piece, but what they did was, and everybody knows after COVID what this looks like, they did QR codes.
Mhm.
Wonderful. And the QR code on that, they simply hold their phone out and say, "Hey, take a picture of this." And they hold their phone over your QR code, and it could be simply their business card, or it might be a marketing piece or a link to a website. And it is a terrific way to very quickly link to somebody, get them something permanent to take back from the conference. I thought that was wonderful.
Yep. And definitely having those marketing pieces that aren't just handing out your business cards. And honestly, right, I'm probably going to offend some people who are listening, but if you hand me your business card stapled to a seed packet with a little thing that says, "I grow referrals,"
Oh,
right?
oh.
I am probably gonna put you in my do not refer list because I really wanna know, why should I refer someone to you? So you can do those specific marketing pieces that say, "Here's the type of clients that we work with, the type of properties that we specialize in." And for me, Florida is this giant, state that has all sorts of different geography and different vibes. And so I make sure in our marketing pieces that we're talking about why their clients might wanna consider the Tampa Bay area versus Destin or Flagler County or Miami or Naples, right? So make an opportunity to really highlight what it is about your market area that makes it special, and those are things that stick out as well. And then you've got the pieces that you hand out at conference, but then you have to stay in touch after. So I think that everybody should build a database to farm other realtors, right? And I'm going to go back. You asked a question earlier that I didn't answer fully, and that's about feeder markets,
Yeah.
right? So understanding the parts of the country or the world where out of state buyers, out of area buyers are likely coming from is critical, because then you can laser focus on building relationships with real estate professionals in those destinations, right? Those are the most important ones, right? Like, I love Boise, but I don't get a lot of Iowans that are buying property here. But Philadelphia, Chicago, and everybody's getting them from California now as well, right? And there are feeder markets, Ohio, These are things I pay attention to where those markets are, and I focus my efforts on making sure that I engage with agents in that area, right? New Yorkers and New Jerseyans, I'm not sure if that's even a word, but they tend to gravitate towards the Miami area, the East Coast. The pace is more suitable to them there. And so just having an eye on that, and that makes me think, Jack, of perhaps the most brilliant strategy that I ever saw was at the Leaders in Luxury conference last year. So, two colleagues of mine, members, Jim Wahlberg, who's from the Danville, California area, just outside of San Francisco, and Patrick Ryan, who's in Chicago proper. They have a great relationship and they share a lot of referral business, right? Because they're symbiotic markets. And so Leaders in Luxury is one of those events where you will actually be able to get the list of attendees ahead of time, right? And a lot of conferences are doing that now as they're going entirely digital. So you just
Right.
go online, you can look and see who's registered, who's coming.
It's
So they
an
identify
app. It's where you right at your fingertips.
exactly. They identified like 20 agents that were coming for the first time to Leaders in Luxury that they had never met before from their feeder markets because they're similar. And so they reached out to those 20 agents and introduced themselves and said, "Hey, I would like to get to know you. And we may not have an opportunity to do this organically. So I would like to host you for dinner with my colleague." And they broke it into two groups and had like 8 people at each dinner, 2 nights. They treated, right? But think about in the luxury space, the return on a single referral for covering that dinner was fantastic. And think about the impression that they made on those other realtors.
Oh, you mentioned this before our podcast. I think that's a wonderful. I mean, it's high impact, and it's the kind of thing. Again, you mentioned the something staple to a bag of seeds and grow referrals.
I'm
You know,
so sorry for those
yeah,
of
I
you.
know.
Yeah.
I hate cheesy marketing.